Coming up next, it's the story of 10 classic songs from a tsunami year in music. A tsunami is in a year where one song wiped out the status quo on radio and MTV forever, but there were plenty of other great songs from this monumental year, including one that came from a story that a songwriter read in a newspaper about a drunk guy who shot up his girlfriend's car. The number one song came from the simple response that the man gave to a judge at his sentencing, and it's so heart-wrenching, it's almost unlistenable. You can only listen to it like once a year, and the singer sobbed through the entire vocal. And then there's a hit that the frontman of a legendary heavy metal band decided to actually sing instead of scream, which is what he normally did. In fact, his singing was so pretty on the record, he was afraid it would make his fans hurl. And then there was a song that came from one line from a letter that an iconic singer sent to the Dalai Lama. This is when he rejected an offer to play at his festival. And finally, a song so strange, its singer sang it in many different ways, with a mouthful of marbles, burping it. He also sang it underwater. It's a stellar countdown with iconic guests coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember getting a brain freeze from a slushie when you were growing up, you'll dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to click the notification bell and click the subscribe button so you know when our stuff comes out. Also, check out our podcast on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. The year that was, a year marked by historical volcanoes. Bill Clinton was the president, Hurricane Andrew raged, and it was the year of the LA riots. But in music, it was a year of musical reinventions. It was the rise of grunge. And of course, it breathed life into rock and roll. Today, we're counting down the best hit songs on 1992. Now, before we begin our countdown, I want to acknowledge 3 songs that had a big resurgence in 92 that would have made our countdown, but they made previous countdowns. We're going to begin with Motley Crue's remix of Home Sweet Home, titled Home Sweet Home 91. This was included in their Decade of Decadence album. So in its original release in 1985, on radio, it didn't do very well, but the remix version brought the song its much-deserved attention in that space. The music video for the song was one of the most popular clips on MTV in 1992, which followed the 1985 video that ruled MTV for so long. MTV actually made a new rule called the Crew Rule, meaning that 30 days after a video premiere, the song would be pushed out of rotation to give other bands a chance because it was so big in 85. So it's interesting. The Second Coming of Layla is another notable reworking that came out in 92. Of course, Layla first came out in 71 with Eric Clapton's band Derek and the Dominoes. But in 1992, Eric revisited his epic song when he was planning his set for MTV Unplugged. Man, miss Unplugged. The man they call Slowhand viewed it as a fresh opportunity to reinterpret and explore new musical avenues with it. Rather than sticking to the original intensity and blues rock feel, Clapton experimented with the song's arrangement, adjusting the tempo and infusing it with a bit of a jazzy vibe. It was a complete overhaul for sure. Darling, please lay low. The 92 interpretation didn't have the slide guitar parts famously played by the late Duane Allman. Instead, on the new Layla, Clapton was accompanied by Andy Fairweather low on acoustic rhythm guitar. This reimagining gave Layla a sophisticated take on a beloved masterpiece for sure. You got me on my knees, Layla. A 92 also saw the renaissance of another classic, talking about Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. The groundbreaking track was discovered by a whole new generation of fans when it was featured in a memorable scene in the comedy Wayne's World.
I think we'll go with a little Bohemian Rhapsody, gentlemen.
Good call.
The director of the movie, Penelope Spheris, didn't think it fit the scene, but Mike Myers, who played Wayne Campbell, insisted on the song's placement, and he got his way. After all, it was Wayne's World. Bohemian Rhapsody was re-released as a single, and it went to #1 in the UK and finished even higher than it did in 1975 on the Billboard Hot 100 here. Landed at #2. What's even better is that Freddie Mercury got to see the clip just before he passed away, and he loved it. Blowing in at #10 on our countdown to the top 10 of 92, it's The Cold Harsh November Rain by GNR, Guns N' Roses. November Rain from GNR's album Use Your Illusion 1 is often regarded as one of the greatest power ballads ever. Its sweeping orchestration, its emotional lyrics, and memorable music video definitely secured its place in rock history. But behind this grandeur lies an intriguing story filled with creative ambition, personal struggles, and a lot of interesting trivia here. First of all, it was the only song that Axl could play on the piano. That's what he said. He wrote it in 1983, and it was 25 minutes at one point. He called it his Bohemian Rhapsody. Secondly, when he was planning out the album, he saw the future video vixen of the song on the cover of a magazine. He was so enchanted by model Stephanie Seymour, he fell in love and wanted to meet her immediately. She, of course, became the muse of both Don't Cry and November Rain, the videos, and life imitated art when they were engaged to be married. They were married in a music video, and later they sued each other into submission. One of the most notable aspects of November Rain is this lush orchestral arrangement, though. The inclusion of a full orchestra was ambitious for a rock band for sure, but Axl was determined to create a sweeping, almost operatic feel. He wanted to do like an Elton John type song. The orchestral parts were recorded separately and later integrated into the song, adding depth and grandeur. The song has not one, not two, but three epic guitar solos, and even though Slash recorded multiple takes of the guitar solo for November Rain, Axl insisted they use the very first take. Slash hated filming the music video, but all the work paid off when the song became the longest ever to hit the top 10. It's also important to note that one of the background singers on the track was no other than Shannon Hoon, the fallen lead singer of Blind Melon. And November Rain was a number 2 single in Portugal, number 3 in Ireland, the Netherlands, and here on the Billboard Hot 100. Flowing in at number 9, I got Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. We just talked about this one, so this will be a different take. What makes Under the Bridge so compelling is its authenticity, though. Anthony Kiedis' openness about his struggles with addiction and loneliness was very outrageous in mainstream rock at that time. The song, of course, a heartfelt confession, capturing the complexity of addiction, not just the physical craving, but the emotional void that it leaves. The song was so vulnerable for Anthony that he almost didn't share it with his bandmates. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Now, the phrase Under the Bridge refers to a pedestrian tunnel at MacArthur Park under Wilshire Boulevard in LA, where Anthony sometimes sought solace during his darkest days. Only as I am, together we cry. It symbolizes both a physical and emotional refuge. I mean, it's definitely the song's honesty why this song resonates with so many. It wasn't just a song that listeners who had experienced addiction could relate to. It was also a song for the lonely, also the emotionally deprived, even those struggling with mental health issues. It became a comforting companion and an anthem of hope for so many. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that. Recognized as a song that really set Red Hot Chili Peppers on the path to international superstardom, Under the Bridge was a surprise number 1 sensation in the Netherlands, in Belgium, and Australia. It just missed the summit here and in New Zealand. It went to number 2. Have you come here for forgiveness? Have you come to raise the dead? Have you come here to play Jesus to the lepers in your head? Of course, wonderful lyrics to our number 8 pick on the top 10 songs of 92. I've got U2 with One. One love, one life. In the late 80s, the 4 members of U2 were in a really strange place. After the massive success of the Joshua Tree, the band felt the pressure to reinvent themselves instead of doing the same old, same old. During the recording of Achtung Baby in Berlin, and then a divided city, tensions ran high. Rumors ran high that the band was on the verge of breakup. Bono has spoken about feeling emotionally disconnected from his bandmates, especially during the recording sessions for this. They were marked by wild disagreements and personal doubts. It was a stressful environment that the guys were just not accustomed to. They were usually a band of brothers that got along so well. The song's formative idea, that came from Bono's contemplation of the fractured state of their relationships, both within the band and in the world around them. 2 of Bono's close friends were going through bitter divorces at that time, including U2's lead guitarist, The Edge. Bono revealed that One was also inspired by a conversation he had with his wife, Allie. They were talking about all the broken relationships and the importance of unity and understanding if you're going to have a successful marriage. The title encapsulates the desire for connection amid all of the chaos, and that's what Bono was dealing with at the time. Though he's changed the meaning of it a few times, or what inspired it in his book, Bono felt despite our differences, unity is possible. That ideal was best expressed in the line, "We're one, but we're not the same."
We're one, but we're not the same. We get to...
In his autobiography, Surrender, that came out just a few years back, Bono says that key line from the song originated from a note that he wrote to the Dalai Lama, turning down an invitation to participate in a festival of oneness. Bono closed the note by writing "one, but not the same," and he ended up using it in the song. I've always been shocked by that. Bono said no to the Dalai Lama. It's pretty crazy. But he also said something after that I've always related to. He said, and I quote, "I was and still am suspicious of the idea of oneness. I don't buy into the homogeneity of the human experience. I don't think we're all one. We can be one, but I don't think we have to see things the same way for that to be so. An archaic thought. We're one, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other, not that we've got to, just that we get to." One was released as the third single off Achtung Baby, and One is the position the song achieved in Ireland and Canada. In the US, One reached the top of the mainstream rock chart and the alternative airplay chart, but it actually went to number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Next up on our top 10 of 92 countdown, it's a tune about blissful epiphany that eventually fades away. It's All I Want by Toad the Wet Sprocket at number 7.
Nothing so loud.
Toad the Wet Sprocket, the band named after a bit on Monty Python's Flying Circus TV show.
Rex Stardust, lead Electric Triangle with Toad the Wet Sprocket, has had to have an elbow removed following their...
Great band. I had a great conversation with the lead singer and lyricist Glenn Phillips about the inspiration behind All I Want. Here's what he said.
Nothing so loud.
All I Want. Tell me how that came together.
Just a song about moments of clarity and how quickly they pass. It sounds a lot happier than it is. The recording of that record was really difficult. We tried to get it. I couldn't get it. I was breaking down in tears in the studio because we couldn't get the 12-string or the harmony, and nothing would be in tune. And we had a day or two of just the worst time. And then finally we're like, check the bass tuning, and somehow the bass had gone on out of tune.
Really?
And so everything we were adding sounded wrong. It was just the silliest thing. So we re-recorded the bass, and then it all went well. Yeah, it was a difficult song to record.
All I want is to feel this way, to be this close.
Glenn Phillips and Toad the Wet Sprocket had a number 15 single on the Billboard Hot 100 with this one, and went to number 11 in Canada. Coming in at number 6, I've got PM Dawn. We just talked about him with the blissful, spine-tingling track, I Die Without You.
Without you, yeah, baby.
PM Dawn, led by brothers Prince B and DJ Minutemind, they crafted a classic with I Die Without You. It's a sincere expression of love and dependency. Now, according to Prince B, the song was inspired by his own feelings of deep attachment to his fiancée at the time. The lyrics convey a sense of desperation and unshakable devotion, an affirmation that life would be meaningless without your loved one.
Is it my turn to wish you were lying here?
To me, this song is the marriage test. Seriously, if you can listen to this song and feel all of those things about your loved one to the core, to your soul, to your heart, marry that person, because this is the song that's that test. I mean, the song's message resonated with so many listeners because it reflected emotions of love and longing and the fear of separation. It's just such an incredible song.
Is it my turn to hold you by your hands?
I Die Without You, it first appeared on the soundtrack of the film Boomerang starring Eddie Murphy and was one of several songs from the album to chart successfully. There was also the mega hit End of the Road by Boyz II Men. I always like PM Dawn better than Boyz II Men. That's just my take. But later the track was included on PM Dawn's second album, the Bliss album, one of my favorite albums of all time. I Die Without You was a top 15 track throughout Europe. It went to number 10 in Canada and number 3 here on the Billboard Hot 100. PM Dawn's so good. Go listen to that album. Next on the countdown, halfway through, I've got one of the funniest and cleverest music videos of the time. At number 5, I got Phil Collins and Genesis with Jesus, He Knows Me.
Jesus, he knows me, and he knows I'm right.
And I love the music video for Jesus, He Knows Me. Of course, featuring Phil Collins, Mike Rutherford, and Tony Banks playing a rotating role of many TV evangelists.
He's been telling me everything is alright.
I mean, remember how prevalent those televangelists were back in the 80s and early 90s? Preachers like Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Bakker, who of course both fell from grace because of infidelity and even outright fraud.
You don't know about my girlfriend or the man I met last night.
The Genesis trio had a good time making fun of all the hypocrisy of this, especially how the self-professed messengers of God would dupe people out of money to save their souls, only to use that money to live the lavish life.
'Cause I'm getting richer day by day.
Jesus, He Knows Me doesn't criticize religion, rather those who exploit faith for their own personal wealth. The song was a mild hit by Phil and Genesis standards, though. Peaked at number 20 in the UK and number 23 on the Billboard Hot 100. It did crack the top 10 in Canada, but I've always thought it was one of their best songs.
Jesus, he knows me. Jesus, he knows me.
Onward and upward with a countdown of the top 10 of 92. I had to choose at least one of the stellar tracks from Metallica's Black Album. Now, for the 1991 countdown I did a few weeks ago, I chose Enter Sandman. But in 92, 2 songs from the record hit the top 40. Placing at number 4, I've got Metallica with The Unforgiven. It was either this or Nothing Else Matters, and I have a rule where I only include one song from a band per year. Otherwise, some of those countdowns would be ruled by one band like the Beatles or CCR or Zeppelin. So I go with The Unforgiven just by a hair. These are 2 huge songs, but they were a big risk for Metallica. I mean, it was so different from their previous work, and that really concerned the band. James Hetfield wrote Nothing Else Matters on the phone with his girl, and it was very heartfelt and personal. And Hetfield would convey that he felt it would make fans want to hurl. I love that. For The Unforgiven, though, the band wanted to try something heavy in the verses and then go soft in the chorus. And the revered Bob Rock, who produced Metallica's Black Album, helped shape Hetfield's vocals. And, you know, many people point to this record as the one where Hetfield really sang for the first time. He'd done a lot of screaming before, but this was the one where you could really hear him sing. His vocal was actually inspired by Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, and he approached it with care. And this is what Bob Rock told me about that.
Ben James's vocal, he used to sing one line at a time, and do you know what doubling is? You double the vocal, so it sounds fatter. I said, well, how about if I just get you a fat vocal sound, and you sound amazing, and then you just got to sing it top to bottom, and we'll just get this great thing. You know, this great, a real something real, not something manufactured. And he said, what vocal sound do you like? And he talked about Chris Isaak's Wicked Game. He said, I want it to sound like that. So I just got the vocal sound and we went, and that was it.
In fact, Dave Mustaine, who was famously fired from the band, said it was his favorite song by Metallica. Understandably, Dave had a hard time listening to the band after he was let go. But when he was able to let it go and do this, he gravitated toward The Unforgiven because he said, again, it was the first time he really heard James sing. The Unforgiven rose to number 15 in the UK, number 10 in Canada, and number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. The highest chart position for the second single from Metallica's Black Album was in Finland, where it went to number 4. Trace, we're up to number 3 of our top 10 songs on 92 countdown, and I got one of the most achingly beautiful compositions ever, one that's so heart-wrenching and lovesick, it's almost unlistenable. I can only listen to it like once a year. I mean that as the best compliment that I can pay. It's I Can't Make You Love Me, featuring a profound performance by Bonnie Raitt.
'Cause I can't make you love me if you...
The minimalistic arrangement for I Can't Make You Love Me, I mean, it's just Bonnie's gorgeous voice and a delicate piano by the great Bruce Hornsby. It serves as a reminder that sometimes less is more when it comes to conveying raw, pure emotion. Now, Bonnie Raitt said that she connected deeply with the sentiment of the song written by Mike Reid and Alan Shamblin. She added that recording the track was a truly cathartic experience. Its emotional depth hits to the core because it captures the universal truth that love just cannot be forced. There are occasions when the most loving choice is to let go, even though it hurts so deeply.
I can't make you love me.
In fact, Bonnie had a really tough time recording it because she kept breaking down, crying, bawling in the middle of takes. It took over 6 months for Reid and Shamblin to complete the composition of I Can't Make You Love Me. The original concept for the tune came from a real-life story that the former NFL player Mike Reid came upon one day. He was reading a paper about a man who was on trial for shooting up his girlfriend's car when he was drunk. That was after she rejected him pretty harshly. At the sentencing, the judge asked the man if he had learned anything from this sad ordeal. The man responded, "You can't make someone love you if she don't." Reid was struck by the raw truth of that statement, so Reid wrote it down and showed it to his songwriting partner, Alan Shamblin, and they finished it. Like I said, it took 6 months.
I feel the power, but you won't.
But they knew they had a special track, and they put together a short list of the singers that they wanted for it. Linda Ronstadt, Bette Midler, but of course their dream choice was Bonnie Raitt. The duo was thrilled when their song eventually made its way to Bonnie, and she executed the kind of inspired vocal that you can only dream about. Again, sobbing through most of the song, which is really what made it so poignant. I mean, you can hear it.
And I will give up this fight.
The song was recorded against a soft electric piano arrangement, like I said. I Can't Make You Love Me is number one in my heart for sure, but it lost steam on the Billboard Hot 100. It ended up at number 18, but it did climb high on the AC chart and went to number 4 in Canada. Just a heart-wrenching song. Probably the most heart-wrenching. George Michael did a great rendition.
Close my eyes, then
In fact, they did a poll a couple of years ago, a new poll about songs that artists wish they'd written, and this one was at number 1. The top 10 of 92 gets to number 2 with the godfather of metal, Ozzy Osbourne, his incredible song, Mama, I'm Coming Home, at the bridesmaid position.
Mama, I'm coming home.
Jumping in here really quick, we actually recorded this a couple weeks before we found out about Ozzy's passing. We're going to have a really great piece come out about Ozzy within the next few days, so look for that. But I didn't want to re-edit this because I wanted to leave it as it was, because we really chose this as our number 2 song, so I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Mama, I'm Coming Home marked a departure from Ozzy's heavier sound, showcasing his ability to deliver heartfelt melodic music, and it showed why we love his voice so much. It was a side of Ozzy's musicianship that we really hadn't heard up to this point. The song was written by Ozzy, along with guitarist Zakk Wylde and songwriter-producer Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead. It was crafted as a tender acoustic bass ballad contrasting sharply with Ozzy's usual heavy metal bluster. It was inspired by a lot of things, but the lyrics came to Ozzy during a period of reflection and reconciliation in the icon's tumultuous life. It was partly inspired by a strained relationship with his family, particularly his mother, Lillian. Ozzy has often spoken about how his struggles with addiction, fame, and personal mistakes created distance from loved ones. Mama, I'm Coming Home captures his remorse and desire to reconnect, expressing hope for healing and forgiveness. What a great song. One of my favorites.
Lost and found and turned around by the fire.
Now, Ozzy had a complicated relationship with his mother, actually right up to the day she died in 2001. Mama, I'm Coming Home was the best way he knew how to thank her for the sacrifices that she had made for him, including her tireless efforts to make ends meet for the family while working in a factory near Birmingham, England. It was also partly inspired by his wife, Sharon. She'd been through and has been through thick and thin with the Ozman, including an incident that happened years before he wrote this, when he was struggling with alcoholism and substance abuse on and off that happened throughout his life. One night, his personal demons took over, and in a drunken act he would forever regret, Ozzy went completely off the rails. Actually almost killed Sharon when he choked her. Next thing he knew, he was waking up in a jail cell charged with attempted murder of his wife. I mean, how can anyone come back from something like that? We just talked about this a week ago with songs being canceled and the artist goes crazy. But he turned his life around and he made a massive comeback. Thing is, the Prince of Darkness's heart is so much bigger than people realize. Beyond the deep personal emotion that he poured into Mama, I'm Coming Home, Ozzy has shown his compassion and love in ways few could imagine. In a poignant moment in 2002 during a heartfelt deathbed vow, Ozzy kissed a single mother battling cancer on the forehead and promised to fund every need of her teenage son. And Ozzy and Sharon made the dramatic pledge just 1 week before the passing of Reagan Erin Mercado, the mother of Osbourne family friend Robert Mercado, who was only 18. Erin fought fiercely like a tiger until she succumbed to colon cancer at the age of 36. And then, of course, at the final Black Sabbath show, Ozzy capped off his legendary career with a truly inspired performance of Mama, I'm Coming Home. And what a song to cap off a career with, just so heartfelt. The song was a number 2 track at Mainstream Rock. On the Billboard Hot 100, it reached number 28, and it went to number 32 in Ozzy's homeland of the UK. We've made it to the summit of our countdown of the top 10 songs of 92, and the track that we chose as our number 1 is no surprise. It's one of the most revolutionary songs of the rock era. Whether you're sick of it or not, it's true. Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. I mean, what other song could be at number 1? Even if you hate this band, you got to agree this was a game changer and the only choice for number 1. It was released in 91 as the lead single from Nirvana's breakthrough album Nevermind, but it peaked in 92 and did a lot of damage in this year. Smells Like Teen Spirit is often heralded as the anthem of a generation. Its explosive energy, its rebellious spirit, and raw emotion transformed the landscape of rock music and became a defining sound of the early 90s, the grunge movement as they were calling it. They borrowed a little bit from Boston's More Than a Feeling. They admitted that much. It brought grunge and alternative rock to mainstream audiences. It shattered the dominance of glam metal and polished pop, offering a gritty, authentic voice for disaffected youth, and it came from a deodorant commercial, right?
I knew it smelled like Teen Spirit.
Hey, this is for girls.
This smells like Teen Spirit.
The song's unforgettable riff, combined with Kurt Cobain's emotive vocals, captured the angst, frustration, and rebellious energy of a generation that was felt overlooked by the mainstream. Gen X is still kind of the forgotten generation, and so this is the anthem. Kurt originally described Smells Like Teen Spirit as a pop song with a distorted, heavy sound. The iconic riff was reportedly written in less than 10 minutes. Pretty incredible. The song's title was inspired by a phrase graffitied on Cobain's friend's wall. Kurt smells like Teen Spirit, which was the reference to a branded deodorant.
Generation. Teen Spirit. A physical sensation with fragrance is made for you. Teen Spirit.
Cobain's then girlfriend, Toby Vale, had actually used the deodorant, and the phrase took on a deeper symbolic meaning for him and to everyone. Kurt explained that he wanted to write a song that captured the spirit of teenage rebellion, but also reflected the apathy and confusion of that time. The lyrics are intentionally cryptic, but they evoke a sense of frustration and alienation. The song's chorus, with the lights out, is less dangerous, here we are now, entertain us. That became a rallying cry for disaffected youth seeking authenticity in a superficial world. Like many of the most potent tracks in rock history, Smells Like Teen Spirit challenged the status quo with a vengeance. It was truly my generation, Gen X's Beatles on Ed Sullivan moment, and it was the tsunami that wiped away the status quo, and it changed everything thereafter. It soared to number 1 in France and Spain and Australia and Belgium and New Zealand and Argentina and on the US alternative rock chart. Now here on the Billboard Hot 100, the single crested at number 6. If you're sick of this song, just go back and remember the first time that you heard it. The first time that you heard it, you have to admit it blew your mind. It blew my mind. I was like, what in the hell is this? It didn't sound like anything. And again, a big old middle finger to mainstream radio. You got to admit, it's pretty awesome. So as an addendum to Teen Spirit, I do want to give an honorable mention for 1992 to the answer to this iconic track. It's parody. I think it's appropriate. The massive popularity of Nirvana inspired one Weird Al Yankovic, the master of parody, to write Smells Like Nirvana. It actually both resurrected Al's career and helped Nirvana sell at least 1 million more copies of Nevermind. Yankovic was at a 3-year low after the financial failure of his film UHF.
Presents Weird Al Yankovic in UHF.
Latching onto the quickly rising popularity of grunge, that was a genius move. Al came up with a parody that ridiculed the fact that many people could hardly understand Kurt Cobain's lyrics in Smells Like Teen Spirit. Here's a story from Al. So UHF, it became this huge cult classic, but 3 years you go by without an album.
It forced me to, think, okay, well, what's happening now? Like, this Nirvana band is doing pretty well. Oh, they'll never be a huge hit. So, and then they were, of course. I was able to get permission from Kurt. We were able to put it out, and it sort of revitalized my career. It, brought me back after the huge disappointment that was UHF.
I love the story about how, because you're trying to get a hold of him for a little while.
My manager wasn't getting his phone calls returned, and I really wanted to do the parody, obviously, and I wanted to get the band's blessing. And a friend of mine worked at Saturday Night Live, so she put me in contact with Kurt. He's like, I said, if you ever are in a room alone with Kurt Cobain, give him the phone because I want to talk to him. And that happened. This is the first time that Nirvana was on SNL.
Nirvana.
And I found out after the fact that Kurt may have not been in a sober frame of mind at the time, but I did talk to him on the phone, and he was very sweet. And I basically said, it's Weird Al Yankovic, and I would love to do a parody of Smells Like Teen Spirit. And he famously said, is it going to be a song about food? Yeah. Because many of my songs at that time were. And I had to explain, no, it's about how nobody can understand your lyrics. And I think he paused briefly and said, yeah, okay, that's funny.
So Smells Like Nirvana, he did it with a mouthful of marbles. He did it underwater. He burped it. I mean, who's done that with a huge hit? Smells Like Nirvana got heavy airplay on MTV and became one of his most popular spoofs. It reached number 4 in New Zealand, number 24 in Australia, and number 35 on the Billboard Hot 100. Man, what a great year 92 was. I thought the early 90s started to go off a cliff, but I don't think that happened until about 96 or 97. Would you like to see 93, 94, and 95? Let me know. Let's have a great discussion and celebrate 1992, a truly great year for music. These 10 songs are as good as anything out there. Let's have a discussion. What are your memories? What are your feelings? What's your top 10? Let's talk about it all below. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.